Timothy Omotoso's trial. We cross to our reporter Jayed-Leigh Paulse, who's standing by for us. Jayed-Leigh, we caught the end there of the proceedings. So did the judge decide that, yes, Mr. Doberman can go ahead and get that special counsel to move their arguments to the Supreme Court of Appeal?
That's correct, Nompu. Before court adjourned, Peter Doberman was addressing Judge Mandela Makahula, and we saw the judge granting that permission for Doberman to go and seek legal advice from the senior counsel. He also went as far as saying that the person whom he wants to speak to is currently busy in the Grahamstown High Court, and therefore they had to prolong it until Thursday, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. But the judge then giving permission for him to bring that senior counsel to court on Thursday, and I suppose they will bring a leave to appeal with regards to that application for Judge Mandela Makahula to recuse himself from the case. You would know that the Mandela Makahula has dismissed that application from the defense.
And in terms of the people who are in court, I mean, it's quite full there. Have you spoken to people? Are you getting a sense of whether they're unhappy with the case that Mr. Doberman has put forward to have the judge recused?
Well, that's very true. I spoke to a couple of the ministers that were present in court this morning, and also as well as several other MPs, dignitaries, the Premier, and I think the general consensus is they are not happy with the way in which the case was handled by the defense, but they're also worried about the way in which victims and witnesses are being cross-examined on the stand, and I think that they were very worried with the second witness that was supposed to come and take to the stand today. We subsequently saw her not taking to the stand, but they were very, very concerned about her in particularly. They hoped and wondered if she was strong enough to go up against defense advocate Peter Doberman. There was also a consensus of whether or not the judge will actually allow that application that was brought by the defense and actually recuse himself and remove himself from the trial, the Timothy Omotoso trial. But subsequently to that, when the judge ruled and he dismissed that application, there was a sense of happiness within the courtroom. After that, Nompu, we did go up to the press briefing that was done by the Minister in the Presidency for Women, Batabile Dlamini, where she addressed media as well as other prominent figures in the political sphere, and she was calling on everyone to rally behind the witnesses, but more so she also spoke of the importance of her department teaming up with other departments such as Home Affairs. She also indicated that she'll be looking into that. She's also urged on all churches to be legalized, that there are representatives to go to every single church in Nelson Mandela Bay and across the province to ensure that there are no illegal mushroom churches that are cropping up. And she spoke also very in-depthly about, the support that the ANC has thrown behind. She applauded the members within the ANC Women's League teaming up with various other political parties in the metro as well, and standing in solidarity. I mean, we've seen parties such as, the ANC, and then also the UDM coming up, standing in solidarity, Nompu. But we've also seen trade unions such as SAFTU also throwing their weight around. So merely just thanking everyone in the civic organization sphere for rallying behind the victims and the witnesses that are yet to take to the stand.
And Jayed-Leigh, just lastly, assuming that this whole process or procedure is but a blip and that Judge Makahula does stay in the seat, how are things going to proceed going forward? We know that Cheryl Zondi elected to do her testimony publicly, but the law does protect rape victims or alleged rape victims insofar as they don't have to give their testimony in a public forum. So are they going to be applying things depending on what the witnesses want?
I think that's also a bone of contention with regards to the defense. They have made it known that they were worried about the way in which the media have also handled the case. They also questioned whether, the victims were allowed to go on camera. Does this not, breach the code of conduct? And also, brought up the fact that the state really needs to ensure that the victims and the witnesses that take to the stand are protected. We saw Doberman also lashing out at the media for the way in which we have, handled the case, saying that, in as much as people have called him out to be very harsh during that cross-examination with Zondi, but he's also been threatened by the public members. He's also been threatened by supporters of Zondi, and he also went as far as saying that the co-accused Lusando Solani and Zukiswa Sito were also threatened. So he was really just saying that the way in which the media handles this, they really also need to practice caution. I think another reason why he brought up the fact is because Zondi and Zukiswa Sito and Lusando Solani were not present, Nompu, in court this morning, and he had asked the judge if she could have a special policing forum, just meet them and take them into court. And then we saw the judge saying that he hasn't got, that jurisdiction to be able to protect the co-accused. But coming back to your question, what was very interesting for me is the fact that the defense said that if Makahula recuses himself, that would mean the trial would have to start all over again, Nompu. So we'd have to see Zondi coming back to testify. We'd have to see all the witnesses that would have come and testified against Timothy Omotoso having to reappear, and the entire trial would have to start again. And I think that's why the defense was, putting pressure on Judge Mandela Makahula, saying that when you decide whether or not to recuse yourself, take into account, think about what you are doing, because should the senior counsel be, successful with that application, and should you eventually have to recuse yourself, the trial would have to start all over again.
All right, Jayed-Leigh, thank you very much for that report. My colleague Jayed-Leigh Paulse reporting from Port Elizabeth. Infant rape in South Africa takes centre stage in a